Hey guys, this is Maranchi, brand strategist and founder of Manufacturer. Today, I've actually thinking of something different today. I was thinking, maybe I do something more like a rant again or whatever, but really there's something on my mind lately that, it's not really well known, right? It's not really well known, but it's basically, you know, there's a large trend of YouTubers that are making clothing lines. So that's a good thing, right? It's a different source of revenue. It's a different source of income. It makes complete sense to do, especially with the adpocalypse and all the crap that went with YouTube in the last years or so, that has been destroying creators' ways to make money, especially through ads. So not a bad thing. Many people are doing this, making their own clothing line. Everyone from Mavericks, basically from Jake Paul, all the way to somebody like PewDiePie recently, launching his clothing brand, which is also really good. The problem is that an interesting case, and I believe, is that how many YouTubers are actually considering the audience for their clothing brands, right? How many people are actually understanding the needs of their audience? And this is something that comes up in branding a lot, right? Because you can create a wonderful story, you can create a wonderful thing about this amazing product. Oh, this is amazing product. You have this vision. You're a visionary. You can be all this stuff, and you can make the product sound so enticing. But in the actuality, when it doesn't have any use to the user, it's like, so what? It's like, so what, right? It's outcome. Where's the outcome? Where's my hole to my drill? And if there's none there, then there's no point to this beautiful story, this beautiful lip service that you put forward. Case in point, here's an example that happened recently, is with Markipliers and Jacksepticeyes clothing brands, Cloak. First of all, again, not a bad idea at all, right? They have a good idea of the quality of the material. It's expensive because cover the cost for production. God, I mean, like, this is just business 101, right? Everyone who's complaining about the price, it makes complete sense, right? Sometimes you just can't afford things. It's fine, right? But they have to cover the cost for production. So that's just basic common sense. The problem is that um, I mainly only got snippets of it, but what I've at least grabbed from mainly all the videos, the brand videos of Cloak and all this type of stuff, is basically that they 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 thought of everything. They thought about the quality. They thought about all that stuff, the story. They've heard it's everything, right? They figured it out. Uh, but what they forgot completely about was the audience, right? So some people would buy it based off the brand of the YouTuber, which is usually the case, right? They buy off the brand of the YouTuber. If he's a famous entertainer, I'm gonna buy his stuff because I just want to support him, and that's it, right? That's one audience. That could be the main audience that most people try to aim for, but it's not always the case because YouTube's audiences aren't so clear cut as something like, if you're, in real estate, it's like buyers and sellers, people trying to sell houses with different lifestyles and whatnot and different sorts of income. But it actually can be quite similar in a way to a YouTube comment section. There's a bunch of people in the audience with different types of income, different types of demographics, different types of psychographics, basically meaning, different lifestyles, different hobbies, different amounts of income, all these different things, different types of mediums that they watch, different types of people that they admire, different types of personalities, different types of beliefs that they hold. All this stuff is very important and is kind of hard because in an audience it's a mix, right? But I would say this is the problem because they did not consult at all. They did not give a chance or try to give a chance to the audience to decide, because when you're doing branding or when you're branding a product or a service, everything matters is the value that is to the customer, or the value to the beholder, right? Value is in the eye of the beholder, and if the beholder doesn't see the value in what you're providing, then what you're providing and you think is valuable because you see it, you see, well, I made this is a quality work, quality stuff, I made this, right, and I'm giving it to you. But if it offers no value to the the consumer, the customer, the audience, the person you are proposing this for, you're selling this to, there's no point, right? There's just no point. They're not going to see it. They're not going to buy from you. They're going to complain, as was the case with Cloak, right? They came up with a bunch of generic videos saying, we're for you, we're this, we're this is basically generic brand language, generic stuff that a corporation uses, basically. Um, this it is it's marketing speak 101. And listen, they might not even know this. Listen, they do video games for a living, so how would they even know how that that was the case, that they were falling into this sort of trap, that they were talking like corporate speak? Basically, they didn't know. They do YouTube for a living, right? That's their specialty, entertainment. They wouldn't know branding. They wouldn't know how to actually understand an audience and provide a product to them that would, give them some sort of value. They wouldn't know that. So that's no fault on their part. But if they had done some sort of survey, if they had done some sort of, polls, asking, maybe going online often and asking, listen, I'm starting this clothing brand, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Like, ask really detailed questions, what are some challenges you're facing with your clothes right now, guys? What would you like to see? And just gather, pull a bunch of ideas, a bunch of, things, and pull and bring together and anticipate the needs of the target audience, and after a while, they would probably see a pattern as to who would probably want clothing, who would not want clothing, right? Because in branding, you're always going to exclude someone. You're always going to take someone out. You're not actually going to, appeal to everyone. You're going to only take. So once you see that pattern and you see these type of people really want what you want, what they want, they've described to you, their problems. Then you go back and then you start creating a clothing brand based on that. And then you market the message, you position the message as such. You say, let's take an example here. Maybe, it's for, this is pretty generic, but, this is for, people who are on the go constantly, entertainers, people who sleep in motels, just, I don't know, just something really specific, but not something like, it's for you. What the hell does it's for you mean? Everyone says it's for you, right? That's basically lip service. It doesn't mean anything at all. You can say it's for you, but it's better to show me that it is for me than actually just say it's for me, right? I'll believe you if you show me, if you're able to show me in your messaging, it is for me. What you will show me that way because you will point out the problems I have and you will offer the solution to them, right? And I'm not saying all clothing brands work that way. I honestly have no experience as much in clothing brands, but some clothing brands, they portray to a different style, to a different style for a different person every single time. So it's not just about again, blanketing and saying it's for everyone. It's a specific group of people and their problems. So that's one thing. So they should have combined those two things. They should have combined their love for their quality clothing, their love for, the high quality clothing, their fashion brands, and then combined it with something like, the audience's perceptions, what they wanted, what were their problems. And then combine that together to create a brand, a messaging around Cloak that would have told them in different videos or Twitter or maybe social media posts or whatever, telling them about how Cloak is going to help them, right? Because again, all YouTubers are doing this. They're all making this for their benefit. It's fine. It makes complete sense. But what is in it for the audience, right? And so that's the missing link I think a lot of clothing brands have. It's like, what's the missing link, right? If you're only going to sell to the people who really just want to support you because they love you as an entertainer, that's fine. But what about the people who aren't as, sold on brand as much, but want something really cool from their from a great entertainer, right? You've been giving value so much already. At this point, perhaps, you may think, right, that that all you need is to put out a brand of clothing and stamp your name on it, or it will be fine. But not always the case, because again, different audiences, different problems. So you cannot say that everyone who's going to buy your clothing is the person who's already supports your channel, right? So that's just a thought, because really, anyone can do the clothing brand the way they want to. But there's always a different way of doing things. There's always a different way of figuring out things, especially with clothing as well. And I'm not very well versed on clothing. And I don't buy my clothing based on brands most of the time anyway. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, right? It varies, especially, I want something comfortable, obviously. But there are other factors, does it make me look good? Um, you know does it keep me warm? Like, there's so much different things, USPs that could have been told inside it if you just had some customer data and some, actual customer data, and you would actually put that into a message on a video, and you'd done a proper video, without, just winging it and just to be like, oh, I'm here, clothing brand, blah blah blah, check it down in the description below, right? Right? I mean, it wouldn't be contrived. It would actually been, really cool, because it would have been part of what the audience wanted, and you would have gotten much better response on that. So I just thought that was a bit of a branding flop in that case, despite having it come from really great entertainers. People, like, everyone tries to misplace Let's Players and say that they're just, oh, they play just video games, but these guys really have entertained me for a while. I watch the videos sometimes. It's fun. It's good fun. It's like watching somebody play video games, right next to you, basically. And the way that they joke around and stuff, all this personality that exudes from them. I just it's a bit sad that that wasn't thrown in there, or that wasn't a consideration, and just how this whole thing turned out. Um, but hopefully it goes good for them, and hopefully it goes well for them. But I thought this was just an interesting case, and I just wanted to put that out there. And everybody, if you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, if you think the Cloak brand's a good brand or not, let me know. I appreciate your comments. Anyway, have a good day, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. I document my journey building a branding agency, and I also talk about stuff like this. I rant stuff like this sometimes, uh, basically. Uh, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, have a good day, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.